Hello students and welcome to the class. As you can see on the screen, today we are going to touch upon again the topic subject-verb agreement. I'm sure the moment I speak this word subject-verb agreement, you would remember our last class because we did something very interesting in that class. Am I right? That story I told you, there was a family where there was a discord between the father and the mother, and so important decisions couldn't be taken. And through that story, we came to a conclusion that for a happy setting within the family, there has to be a concord between the important members of the family. Same rule is applicable to subject-verb agreement. The sentence is like a family, and the subject and the verb are the heads of the family, and they need to agree with each other for a meaningful sentence. So now, having done all the basic rules for subject-verb agreement, today's class is an advanced discussion of the still some more rules about subject and verb agreement. So let's see what all those rules are. First of all, it's a recap. It is one of the very basic things that we learn in English class, and the learning of this idea starts from the very beginning. The moment we start learning about sentences, it is automatic that we learn about subject verb agreement. So look at these two sentences. My friend is Japanese and my friends are Japanese. So this is such sentences you would have done probably in your primary classes, I would say. So subject and verbs, of course, they need to agree with each other. The very basic rules we did, like use of either or, neither nor, use of and, use of along with, where two subjects are joined with the conjunction or things. Those all things we did. Now let's come to some special words which may be tricky. Here you can see a set of words: everybody, anybody, somebody, nobody. Then everyone, anyone, someone, no one. Clearly, if you go through these words, they refer to a singular noun or a singular subject. Everybody means each and every one. Anybody means one out of so many. Somebody means one random out of so many. And nobody means not even a single. So all these words refer to singular subjects. Now in your day-to-day usage, it becomes very clear that you don't say everyone have problems. This is wrong. We say everyone has problems. I don't know if anybody is in the office right now. Your teachers ask you in the class, has anyone done the work? Has anyone? Okay, so it's singular. Has anyone done the work? Look at the next sentence. How do you react if someone gives? This is again singular. Then the last sentence, nobody likes the new English teacher. Of course, in your case, it's not true. I'm sure you would be liking your English teachers. So, moving on to some collective words: club, team, family, army. These are collective nouns. Now, these days, there is a debate, there is a breaking down of previous ideas or and rules and conventions when we come to usage of collective nouns like club, team, family, army, etc. First of all the collective nouns are actually singular. Okay, they are singular because they are talk about one collection of several things. Within that collective noun, there may be many units, many heads, but then we give a name, one name to that collection of things or people or and call them as one collective noun. For example, club may have many members. Team, one team may have many team members. One family, but a family has different members, and so on. So, these subjects are normally taken as singular, but there is a plural usage also, especially in the British English, which we follow. Now, you may ask, when do we use these in plural form? When we are stressing on individual heads. Okay, on individuals or individual heads. For singular, we say, my family is visiting me for the holidays. The basketball team has a new coach. Now, this word team, how would you use it in plural form? Just think about it. I'll write it down here. The team are changing in the dressing room. So clearly, here in this sentence, we are referring to the individual persons in the team. So it becomes a plural. So that ways, all the collective nouns can be used as singular also or plural also, depending upon the context. Next we have this word, police. Usually police is plural. Now students, so many of you read English newspapers, and those who read would be well aware. See, reading newspaper, the most important benefit, the about reading newspaper, the most important thing is that your active vocab gets enhanced, and the day-to-day conventions of language, you get to know all that. Now these days when we read newspaper, it's of course there, I don't think so there would be any newspaper without any news about the police, right? Because there is so much crime everywhere. So newspapers write it like this only: the police have arrested so and so, right? The police have busted the gang. So usually the word police is used as plural, but when you have to be specific and you want to use it as a singular, you say the policeman or the police or the policewoman or the police officer. So the police are investigating the murder. Police have arrested. Otherwise, we say in singular form. These two are plural forms. The police have arrested 3 suspects. Now, when you talk about singular, you can call that person as a policeman or a policewoman or a police officer. Then look at the irregular plural nouns. What are irregular plural nouns? All these. To wait, we cannot add s. Okay? We don't say peoples. Do we say? No. We don't say children's. We don't say men's. We don't say women's. And we don't say mices or feeds. Alright. So these are irregular plural nouns. Be careful, students. Even till date, so many children, I would say, not so many, but some of you happen to err here by writing people's or children's or man's or something like this. So be very careful, particularly with the first two words, people and children. These words you err at sometimes. So the irregular plural nouns, they are not formed by adding s, and they take the plural form of the verb simply because these words are themselves plural. Feet refers to two. One is, what is one? It is foot, not feet, right? So foot is one. We talk of one. Of course, foot will take a singular form because foot is singular. That is what subject verb agreement is about. So we say, my foot hurts if we are talking of one of our feet. But if we talk of feet, of course, it is plural. Look at the examples. Our children are very well behaved. The people like the new president. Look at this, important. Men don't usually enjoy shopping for clothes. My feet are cold. This one is typical. So we will do it nicely. These words, both of, a few of, many, several. First of all, we will do an analysis of these words. Both of means, both of refers to two things at least, right? A few of means some objects, countable things. Many, of course, many is plural, that you know. Several also refers to plural, right? So these words, both of, a few of, many, several, they always take plural form of the verb. You need to remember this. Both of my brothers are older than me. A few of these products have defects. Many of the houses in this neighborhood don't have garages. Several of the students aren't going to pass. So there shouldn't be any confusion. All these words, because by nature itself they are plural, as we discussed just now. So a plural word will take a plural verb. Okay, now again this is a typical one. That is why we are doing all this in your advanced study of this topic. Look at this. Half of, a third of, 40% of, some, and most. Now, when I say half of, you should ask half of what? Right? Okay. A third of what? 40% of what? Okay. So it means whatever follows this word, half of what? If this is singular, the verb will be singular, and if this is plural, the verb will be plural accordingly. But it will be better if I explain this to you through the examples, then it's easy to understand for you. You have to see what comes after this. Half of, let me underline these first of all. Half of, then some of, then 40% of. Okay. So these phrases, now till here we don't know. Half of what? Let us ask this question. Half of what are we talking about? Half of what? Students. Now, what is students? Tell me, is it singular or plural? It is plural. Okay. So, half of the students are, because of this plural. Have you got it, students? I repeat, I will do it again for you. Look at this verb phrase, half of. Now we have to see half of what. Okay. Here in this sentence, half of what? Students. Students is plural. That is why the verb is also plural. Is it connecting? Can you feel the connection between the subject and the verb? Half of the students are from another country. For the same example, I will show you the singular one so that you understand. Again, half of. Again, you ask half of what? Okay. Half of the class. Remember 2 slides back what we discussed? Class as a collective noun is normally singular. Class is singular. So we say half of the class is from another country. Okay, clear? Then next. Some of these facts are incorrect. Some of what? Facts. Facts is plural. Okay. So we say some of these facts are incorrect. Similarly, there is a parallel example for singular. Some of what? Some of this information. Information is singular, so we have a singular verb. Some of this information is incorrect. Next, 40% of the people. People, you remember we discussed, it is plural. 40% of the people don't support the new law. And parallel example of plural of singular is 40% of the country. Okay, country is one. We are talking of maybe our own country. 40% of the country doesn't support the new law. Doesn't word is always singular and don't is plural. This is again, I am sure this is something new for you. Let's do it. The word data. Data, is it singular or plural? Before looking at this slide, you just speak it up in your mind when you go for your computer class. You speak yourselves. Your computer ma'am or sir also, he speaks so many things related to this word data. How do they use? Normally, I have seen people often use it as a singular word itself. Am I right? But let us discover something interesting about this. There is a debate about the word data. Technically, you would be surprised. Data is plural and the singular form is datum. Did you know about this, students? See how we use. Now, in common usage, we consider data like information. Information is always singular. Am I right? The information is correct. We never say the information are correct. So, data is also like an information as a common usage. So, people, while using this term, they started using it in its singular form. The word datum, the original singular form of data, was ignored and people started using data as singular because data referred to information. So, because of this widespread usage, we don't see in language it's about the day to day usage, and that is why language is so dynamic. It keeps on changing and modifying itself with the requirement of time. So these days both forms are correct. The data is accurate and the data are accurate. So the data that I have provided you, that those data are accurate. It sounds little offbeat, but technically it is more correct, more appropriate than the other form. Always remember this word. The singular form is datum. Clear? Then you will remember that data is the plural form. Then there are certain confusing phrases like the closest word to the verb is not always the subject. Look at this. I will explain you through the example. The leader of the students. So, who? So, we will say, actually, who are we talking about? Are we talking about students? No, not at all. Are we talking about the leader? Yes. So, actually, we want to say the leader has long hair. So, it is as good as saying the leader of the students has long hair. Now, what happens with you children? You just get confused with this word students and then you use have because it's a plural. So you would say no ma'am had taught. Plural subject takes a plural verb, but you have to identify the subject first. So use of have here is wrong because we are not talking of students, we are talking about the leader. So the head noun is the leader. Okay, the head noun is the leader and the students of the students is just a modifying prepositional phrase. So it's a singular. Then we come to the second example, the bird in the trees. Now trees can mislead you to plural. So are we talking about, what are we talking about? What or who, na? So that, are we talking of trees? Are we saying the trees for beautiful? No, it's wrong. We are talking about the bird. The bird was beautiful. It's as clear as water. Am I right? So, third example, the man who bought 100 houses. What are we talking about, students? Are we talking about 100 houses? No. This is an adjective clause. If you remove the bracket, you mean to say the man is rich. That's all. It's very simple. These can be little tricky for you. Inverted sentence. Normally, first we have the subject, then the verb looks at the subject. Okay, you are singular, I will also become singular. Otherwise, if you're plural, I'll also become plural. That's how we do it. But in inverted sentences, there is a noun after the verb. So the verb has to literally look back and see, okay, who is coming behind me? I have to look at that. For example, it's a very simple example. Let me show you. There is a problem. Now, is a verb. What has the verb? What is it going to look at? There will indicate nothing. There may be singular, there may be plural, depending upon the object we are talking about, right? So the verb is has to look at problem. There is a problem, or else we say there are problems, right? So it gets inverted. It's looking behind. There are problems. There is a problem. Similarly, here are what? Glasses. So we looking at this is plural. We say here are your glasses. This magic, I wish so much that right now I would be present in front of you to show you the magic of commas or a parenthesis, bracket. So when there are additional phrases associated with the subject in order to modify the subject, it may be an adjective clause, it may be a prepositional phrase, something. Those things you please keep in bracket or in comma, and while doing subject verb agreement, omit it in your mind. I will teach you how to do. Look at this. The man, in addition to his daughter, lives here. Okay. So we are talking about what? The man. Now this is in commas, as you can see, or in bracket. Now we don't, in when you read this, in your mind you don't read this. So you will go from the man straight away till here. You will say the man lives here. Oh my God, it is a sentence for a primary child, level child, So it's so simple. The man lives here. That's all. In your mind, omit the bracketed form or the comma form. This rule is very much applicable to words like along with, together with, as well as. Okay, so then you have to locate out the primary subject. So your teachers also take great pleasure in testing testing you through all these sentences. The most common is the king with all his ministers is coming. So ministers, then we simply have to think like the king is coming. Very simple. With all his ministers, or else along with all his ministers, or else the king as well as his daughters is coming. So that way. Let's do a practice quickly now. Everyone, first slide, remember, every words or any words or these words are always singular. Everyone has problems in life. Then because this was singular, then countries is plural. Countries also have problems, and so dash the world. The world is singular, one world, and this is an inverted sentence, and so has the world. So it is everyone has problems in life, countries also have problems, and so has the world. Next one. One of the greatest problems. So, what are we talking about? We are talking about one problem out of many problems, which is a singular reference. Okay, one of the greatest problems is the growing population. The population in some countries, this you can in your mind you can keep in a bracket. What are we talking about? Population. So we say the population is huge. The population in some countries is huge. One of the greatest problems is the growing population. The population in some countries is huge. Next, both. Use of both. Again, these are all sentences which we have revised today. Both India and China. Here we are referring to two different countries. Of course, it makes it plural. Very simple. Both India and China have populations of over 1 billion people. Both are growing too. Okay, next. Look at this. Finding a job where you can learn new skills dash a lot of effort. I have been looking for 6 months. 6 months dash a long time. Not even one company that I applied to dash responded. First of all, in the first for the first blank, let us see what are we talking about. Finding a job where you can learn new skills dash a lot of effort. So, if you look at this, a lot of effort and then the act of finding a job. Clearly, this part is it's a plural reference. So, we are talking about finding a job actually required or requires. That's what you have to answer. It requires, singular. Have you got it? Now read it again. Finding a job where you can learn new skills requires a lot of effort. Right? I have been looking for 6 months. 6 months dash a long time. Remember, students, in your previous class and many times before this also you have done कि when we are referring to time as in totality and not as units. Similarly, when we are referring to distance in totality and not in units, they become singular. Like even if we say 5 miles, we may say use is with it. 5 miles is a long distance because we are talking of the distance in totality. Similarly, here you can see it is 6 months. So, 6 months is a long time. Not even one company that I applied to. So, we are talking of not even a single company. Of course, it becomes singular. Not even one company that I applied to has responded. Clear? So I repeat this. Finding a job where you can learn new skills requires a lot of effort. I have been looking for 6 months. What means the person has been looking for a job for 6 months? 6 months is a long time. Not even one company that I applied to has responded. Okay, look at this. A number of my friends dash riding bicycles, but neither my brother nor my sister dash a bicycle. A number of my friends. What did we learn? A number of, several of. It depends on the noun which follows. Now tell me, friends is singular or plural? It is plural. I think so. I should go back to the slide and then show you again when we talk about a number of, several, both of, and all these. We just discussed before. Let us just go back to that. Where is it? See, half of, just a minute. See, half of, a third of, number of. We did it so well. So just to revise. So these, look at this. While doing also, you have to refer to this slide. These words can be singular or plural depending on what follows them. So in the slide that we were discussing now, this one. A number of my friends, I told you, friends is plural. Okay. So a number of my friends are riding bicycles, but neither my brother nor my sister. We did a rule, no? The subject which is closest will decide what the verb will be here. But neither my brother nor my sister. So my sister is the closest subject which is singular. In this case, both are in fact singular, so no issue. The verb will be singular only. But neither my brother nor my sister has a bicycle. So the sentence becomes, a number of my friends are riding bicycles, but neither my brother nor my sister has a bicycle. Next one. Okay. The pair of shoes on the floor dash mine. The shoes dash made in Italy. The $300 I spent on them dash worth it. So now here what are we referring to? This whole phrase is our subject. The pair of shoes. Look at the picture also and look at the reference. How many pairs are there of the shoes? How many shoes are there? 2. But how many pairs are there? 1. Right? So it has to be singular. The pair of shoes on the floor is mine. The shoes. Now here the shoes. So the reference is to 2 objects, no? The shoes have been plural, okay? The shoes have been made in Italy. The $300, again it refers to not the countable 300, which we may say is plural. Dollars is also plural, but it refers to an amount just like time and distance. Okay, so the $300 I spent on them is worth it. This much amount that I had spent on the shoes is worth it. Is that clear? I repeat, the pair of shoes on the floor is mine. The shoes have been made in Italy. The $300 I spent on them is worth it. So that's all for subject verb agreement at a little advanced level. Students, I am sure you would have found the class interesting, and of course we learned a few new and innovative things in this topic, because this is something we have been doing time and again. So I am sure through today's class and through today's session you would have taken home some new things, some interesting ideas. I would advise you, please refer back to all the slides and go through the entire presentation time and again as and when required. But I am sure you would have enjoyed the session. So stay blessed and have a great day. Right? See you in the next class. Till then, bye bye.